You've been waiting an entire off-season, and now it's time! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Old Yadkin Valley Speedway, as we are proud to welcome you to Season 2 of the Funkhouser Diecast Racing League, as we kick off the National Super Truck Series Round 2, sponsored by Merch by Meatgan. Season 1 of the Funkhouser Diecast Racing League was a phenomenal success, as we were able to bring you such tournaments as the F-Body Frenzy, the JDM Mania, Stock Car Nation, and the Bootlegger Run Series, and now we are proud to bring you more racing action with Treetops Raceway Park, Bay City Diecast Racing, and Tiny Track Cars as we bring you the National Super Truck Series. And as we check out the four-wheel drive section up in the middle of Turn 1, it's a big party as these fans are on their feet and excited for some amazing truck racing action. The 16 competitors in this tournament have already put points on the board over at Treetops Raceway Park. Now here at the Old Yadkin Valley Speedway, they hope to either extend their lead or catch up to the top of the pack before moving on to Tiny Track Cars and Bay City Diecast Racing. So if you haven't yet, be sure to go to Treetops Raceway Park to check out Round 1 of this event, and then don't forget to check out Tiny Track Cars and Bay City Diecast Racing for the continuation of this event. Wait a minute, what was that? Hey, go back there! Oh my God, Ricky, what is that shack sitting down there at the side of the track? Is that an El Camino? Oh my God, Ricky, that's not even a truck.
That's right, baby. Cousin Ricky is back for Season 2, and wouldn't you like to know what's in my shack, Funk? Get your head to just come down here and see it for yourself.
Great, a brand new season, and Cousin Ricky has already started some kind of shenanigans. And why did he already have a radio set up to talk to me? Anyways, I'm getting away from the important stuff. We have 2 heat groups to race today, as a total of 4 groups that we run here at the Old Yadkin Valley Speedway. So enough talking, let's get down for these driver introductions. Starting us off, it is number 22, Pennzoil Shell, 1963 Studebaker champ for Blue Line Racing. It's KC. Up next in that hot orange, number 88, Hot Wheels Draftinator for Milestone Racing. It's Dustin Miles. Starting third in the number 83, TRX Engines Hot Wheels Draftinator for DeVolsi Family Racing. It's Rosemary. And finally, in their Mountain Dew number 29, 1996 Chevy 1500 for Puffs Racing, it's Puff. As we go out to the starting grid for race 1, there you see Casey on that front inside pole position. Right there next to him, it's going to be Dusty Miles with Rosemary in the third place spot. Then you have Puff on the outside rear row as we are down and ready for race 1, which is now underway. As they head down in the Turn 1 for the first time, it's KC with a nice lead over Dusty Miles, but Dusty Miles is starting to slowly pull up. Next to KC, can he catch him as they head into Turn 3? Oh, they get loose as KC and Dusty collide. Then they get hit by Rosemary. Puff slams into the back of him. As it comes to the line, it's going to be KC coming in first, followed by Puff, and then Dusty Miles coming in third.
Woo, what a way to start off race 1, and I had the best seat in the house down here at the shack.
All right, whose bright idea was it to have Cousin Ricky piped in through the commentator's booth via radio from his shack? Anyways, here we are checking out Rosemary down there at the middle of Turn 4. Let's watch the replay camera here as you see Dusty Miles trying his best to catch up to Casey as they head down into Turn 3. As you watch Casey exit the turn, his car gets a little loose as he gets tapped by Dusty Miles. Dusty Miles is in Casey's door as they head down the super stretch, but he gets slammed in the rear by Rosemary, who loses control of her car. Then you see Puff slamming into the back of Casey.
And as you watch Casey come out of Turn 4, he's able to hang on to that lead as he's going to come across the line in first, followed by Puff, and then Dusty Miles is going to pull up behind him.
Somebody cut Cousin Ricky's radio off and get him up here in the booth if he's going to chat. Anyways, if y'all watching by home have noticed, we have a different scoring system set up specifically for this event, with Casey sitting at the top right now with 5 points. Then you're going to have Puff sitting there in second place with 3 points. Then it's going to be Dusty Miles with 2 and Rosemary with a DNF is with 0 points as we are set and ready for race 2, which is now underway. Dusty Miles leads him off as they head down into turn 1 with a commanding lead right behind him. You see Casey trying his best to catch up to him as they head to the entrance. Casey's right there on his bumper as they head to, oh, looks like Dusty Miles gets turned around. Casey gets slammed by Puff again as they come down the line. Casey's going to take it all by Puff. Then it's going to be Rosemary and Dusty Miles coming in fourth.
I don't care what he said. That's my radio.
Well, let's see, Cousin Ricky has finally made his way up here into the booth. Anyways, let's check out the merch by Mickey replay camera as here you watch Dusty Miles with the lead heading down into turn 3. But keep your eyes on him as he exits turn 3. His car gets sideways as he hits the outside retaining wall. Then you see Casey slams right into his door. A little bit of payback from race 1 as Dusty Miles is trying his best to slow it into reverse as Casey gets a push from Puff as they come down to the line. Now you have Puff and Dusty Miles fighting for position as Dusty Miles is unable to take it back from Puff as Puff takes second place across the line.
And that's really gotta hurt for Dusty to start at the front of the pack, get tangled up in some trouble, and then thrown into the back of the pack. Kind of like how I was thrown out of my shack.
Well, did you really think I was just going to let you get away with broadcasting via radio from a shack? Besides, what the heck is that shack doing there anyway?
Cousin Ricky's Shine Shack is on a need-to-know basis only.
Cousin Ricky's Shine Shack? Oh, dear God. Anyways, back to the racing as they head down into turn 1. It's Puff with a nice lead over Dusty Miles and Rosemary. But here comes Rosemary making a move alongside Puff as she takes the lead outside the chicane. But here comes Casey alongside her, making a pass down the super stretch. Here they come down to the final stretch. It's going to be Casey taking the lead, followed by Rosemary, as it looks like we had trouble on the backstretch between Dusty Miles and Puff.
Dude, how about that driver by Casey? Not being denied the lead.
Casey with his 3rd win in a row as we check in on Puff and Dusty Miles down there at the entrance of turn 4 as they got tangled up. Let's check out the merch by Mickey replay camera as here you see Rosemary taking the lead from Puff right there in turn 2 as they head down into the chicane.
As they come out of the chicane, keep your eyes on Casey as you see him rolling up to the back end of Rosemary as they head down into turn 3. Rosemary seeing what's going on behind her. She's trying her best to drive out her rearview mirror, but Casey pulls alongside of her, pushes her out of the way as they head down into turn 4.
Casey completes a pass and goes up for a blocking maneuver as they head down the final stretch. Rosemary tries her best to catch up to him, but Casey has that lead as he takes the win.
Now let's rewind a little bit as we go to turn 3 to see what happened to Puff and Dusty Miles.
As we watch the cars enter into turn 3, here you see Puff trying his best to get past Casey, but unfortunately Dusty Miles gets along the inside of him, turning Puff sideways as they head down the super stretch, heading down into turn 4. Unfortunately, they both tangled up and they come to a halt just before the entrance of turn 4.
And after that 3rd win in a row, I think it's safe to say that Blue Ryan Racing Machine of Casey has this all wrapped up. The question is, can he get 4 in a row?
Well, the odds are in his favor as he is sitting on the front outside lane as you have Rosemary on that front inside lane as we are down to the final race. Race 4 is now underway. As they head down the backstretch one final time, Casey and Rosemary are neck and neck as they head to the S-turns. Casey takes lead as they head down into turn 2, through the S-turns, down into turn 3. Can Rosemary catch up to Casey as they head down into turn 4? Oh, Casey gets turned sideways. He's on the side as Rosemary comes across the line first. Oh, my Puff coming in second. And it looks like we have a double DNF as our leader, Casey, did not make it to the line.
Oh, God, talk about your commentators.
No, we do not mention that here on this channel.
Oh, so you're just going to say it's a coincidence that we talk about here?
No, stop it. Don't mention another word.
So we're just going to dismiss the obvious and talk about the emergency crews.
Exactly. So let's go down here and check out the merch by Meek and replay camera as here we watch Casey heading into turn 3 with Rosemary trying her best to catch up to him as he heads down the super stretch past the grandstands down into turn 4. It is smooth sailing. Well, watch him as he comes out of turn 4. His car hits the outside retaining wall, then the inside retaining wall as his car rolls over and slides on its side. Then you see Rosemary squeaks by him as the other cars cannot avoid him as they slam right into him. Then you see Puff coming along, gives him a love tap as he makes it across the line.
Is it just me or has Puff and Casey had contact at every single race?
I don't think you're the only one to notice that. Well, let's check out that replay one more time as you see them coming out of turn 4. Here you see Casey hits the outside retaining wall, then the inside retaining wall as his car rolls over, losing complete control, and here you watch Rosemary just barely gets by. Unfortunately, Dusty Miles and Puff slams into him, and then you see Puff one more time giving him a tap as he comes across the line.
Definitely no commentators jinx.
Oh my God, Ricky, really? Dear God. Anyways, at the end of round 2, Heat Group 1, your winner of this event with a total of 3 wins and 15 points for Blue Line Racing, it's KC. Right behind him is Rosemary with 10 points. Then you have Puff with 9 and Dusty Miles with 3. Both points adding up to the total and moving on to the next event. Don't go anywhere, Heat Group 2 is coming up next. If you're familiar with the Old Yadkin Valley Speedway, you may have noticed a brand new building taking up real estate along our skyline. It's our brand new press box provided by Merch by Micken in conjunction with Wet Work Customs. That's right, Merch by Micken, known for its custom metal die-cast signs and much more, has now brought us a brand new line of custom-made buildings for your track at home. And the choices don't just stop at personalized press boxes. They also have your custom garages with working overhead doors and dealerships made specifically to your specifications. So if you want something like that for your own custom track, make sure to go to Merch by Micken. We're back, ladies and gentlemen, to the National Super Truck Series, sponsored by Merch by Micken. Heat Group 1 produced some amazing truck racing action, and we are just moments away from getting started with Heat Group 2.
You know, Cousin Ricky's definitely ready to see some more truck racing action, and I just had an amazing idea. Do you have any idea how much moonshine one of those truck beds can hold?
I know you're not about to try to do some more recruiting.
Too late. I've already got the flyers printed out.
Of course you do. And ladies and gentlemen, let me go ahead and apologize if you had an audio issue with the last set of races. We had a control issue here up in the booth.
Yeah, I noticed we had a whole bunch of new buttons up in here, and I couldn't help myself. Speaking of which, ooh, what's this button do?
No, Ricky, don't. Dang it, Ricky, that's the second time you've done that.
Now, come on!
Well, now that everything's back and stabilized, let's get down for these driver introductions. Starting us off in his red-hot number 4 Hot Wheels Draftinator for G-Force Diecast Racing, it's Daddy G. Up next in his number 21 Amsoil Hot Wheels Draftinator for Vapor Diecast Racing, it's Sneaky Bob. Starting third in his number 39 1963 Studebaker Champ for Rabbit Badger Racing, it's Deacon.
Ooh, I could really go for some spam.
And finally, driving in his famous Skulled-Out Design 1963 Studebaker Champ for Dubious Diecast, it's Mr. Doc. The trucks are lined up on the grid as we are ready to get Heat Group 2 started, as you have Daddy G on that front inside pole position with Sneaky Bob right there next to him. On the rear row, you have Deacon with Mr. Dark sitting there in the 4th place position, as we are set and ready for race 1, which is now underway. Out the gate and down the backstretch they go as you have Daddy G as your leader with Sneaky Bob right there behind him as they head down in a turn 2 through the chicane. Here comes Sneaky Bob trying his best to catch up to Daddy G, but Daddy G is pulling away as they come down to the line. It's going to be Daddy G coming in first with Sneaky Bob spinning around and coming in second place. Then it's going to be Mr. Dark and Deacon coming in fourth.
And Daddy G making a huge statement in that first race as nobody else was able to catch up to him.
Absolutely, Ricky, and let's check out that replay camera sponsored by Merch by Micken, as here you see Daddy G coming out of the chicane with Sneaky Bob right there behind him. Sneaky Bob trying his best to catch up to Daddy G as Daddy G makes absolutely no mistakes as he comes out of turn 3, down the super stretch, heading into turn 4. Still not a single mistake out of him as he comes out of the turn, straight ahead down to the line. Unfortunately, Sneaky Bob overcorrects as he comes out of the turn, spins around, and is able to flip and reverse as he comes across the line with the other cars behind him, as here you see Deacon bouncing all over the place.
And with that win in dominating fashion, Daddy G puts 5 points on the board with Sneaky Bob right there behind him with 3.
In third place, you're going to have Mr. Dark with 2 points, and then you're going to have Deacon with 1 point. We still have 3 races left to go, so anything can still happen as we are set for race 2, which is now underway. As they head down into turn 1, it's Sneaky Bob with a nice lead, but here comes Daddy G slowly creeping up on the Sneaky Bob's bumper, and he's right up on his bumper as they exit chicane. He's bump drafting him into turn 3. Sneaky Bob is able to break free as they come down to the line. It's going to be Sneaky Bob coming across the line at first, followed by Daddy G. Then it's Mr. Dark and then Deacon bringing up the rear.
And how about all that amazing driving by Sneaky Bob, who puts in a track time of 14.822 seconds.
Sneaky Bob doing his best to hold off Daddy G as we watch the Merch by Micken replay camera. Here you see them going into turn 2. Watch Daddy G roll up right on the Sneaky Bob's bumper as they go into the chicane. As they go down into the stretch, they are bump drafting down into turn 3. Daddy G is trying his best to get past Sneaky Bob, but Sneaky Bob is able to hold him off. He gets a little bit loose, but he's able to continue continue on down in turn 4 as he leaves Daddy G behind. As you watch him head down to the final stretch, he's going to make it across the line at first, and then you're going to have Daddy G coming right across the line behind him in second.
And after updating points, we now have a tie for first place.
That we do, as both Daddy G and Sneaky Bob are sitting up there with 8 points on the top of the board, with Mr. Dark sitting there behind them with 4, and then you're going to have Deacon bringing up the rear with 2. But the 2 slower vehicles are now up front being pushed by the faster cars. It's now lap 3. Mr. Dark getting a nice jump as he leads him down in turn 1, with Sneaky Bob right there behind him as they head down in turn 2. Deacon is trying his best to catch up, but Sneaky Bob takes that second place spot. Oh, and he gives Mr. Dark a shove as they head down the super stretch, down to the final stretch. It's going to be Mr. Dark coming in first, with Sneaky Bob coming in second.
And looks like Deacon was able to hold out Daddy G as he has to settle for a 4th place spot.
That 4th place finish is definitely not going to do Daddy G any favors with the points, but let's check out this merch by Meekin replay camera, as here you see Mr. Dark doing his best to hold off Sneaky Bob as they head down in turn 3. Watch Sneaky Bob gives Mr. Dark a shove as they head down into the super stretch. Mr. Dark starts to pull away, but Sneaky Bob gets another rally as they head down in turn 4. But Sneaky Bob overcorrects once again, getting loose, as here you see Mr. Dark able to pull away, and he's going to come across the line in first.
And as you were watching behind him, you see Deacon was doing his best to keep Daddy G behind him.
And with that, race fans, it brings us down to the final race as you have a new leader of Sneaky Bob with 11 points. In second place, we have a tie with 9 points between Daddy G and Mr. Dark. Then it's Deacon sitting down there with 4 points as we are down to the final race. It's time for race 4. Down to backstretch 1, final time. It's Daddy G pulling away from Deacon as they head down into turn 1. Mr. Dark is trying his best to catch up, but Deacon is holding him back. As now you have Daddy G. Oh, Daddy G gets loose heading into turn 3. It's a big pile up behind him as Daddy G is now going to pull away. He's the lone car coming down to the line as he's going to come in first.
Daddy G gets loose going into turn 3, and then it's total chaos behind him.
Absolutely, it was, Ricky, as we check out that track time, as we check in on all the drivers sitting down there in the turn 4 as they all got tangled up, unable to complete this lap. A triple DNF for these drivers.
And that's really got to hurt 2 of these cars because they were really tight in the points.
That they were, as we go to check out the merch by Meekin replay camera, as here you see Daddy G pulling away as you watch Mr. Dark slam right into the back of Deacon, trying to give him a shove as they head down in turn 2. All the while, Daddy G is continuing to pull away, but as you watch him exit the chicane, his car gets loose as he hits the wall multiple times. His car gets really loose as he goes flying through the air as he gets slammed in the back by a Sneaky Bob as all the cars collect behind him.
It's hard to believe that one false move by Daddy G getting loose causes this chain reaction right there behind him as all the cars start to collect as they head down in turn 4, unable to break loose from Sneaky Bob.
As we change the angle down to the final stretch cam, here you'll see Daddy G pulling away as he's able to come across the line as you watch all the other cars come to a halt. And that's going to do it for the National Super Truck Series Round 2, Heat Group 2 here at the Funkhouser Diecast Racing League. Coming in 4th place with a total of 4 points, it's Deacon. And 3rd place with 9 points, it's Mr. Dark. Then you have 11 points in 2nd place for a Sneaky Bob. And your winner of this event with 14 points, it's going to be Daddy G. Well, race fans, that's going to do it today for Heat Groups 1 and 2. But be sure to tune in next time as we bring you Heat Groups 3 and 4 of the National Super Truck Series Round 2. And if you haven't yet, be sure to go to Treetops Raceway Park to check out and be up to date on what took place during Round 1. And don't forget, after we complete Heat Groups 3 and 4, the points will be all tallied up and the scoreboard will be updated. Then the cars will be moving on to our next tracks of Tiny Track Cars and Bay City Diecast Racing. So if you haven't yet, be sure to go to their channels, check them out, subscribe to them, and show them some love. And speaking of showing some love, if you love the action you've seen today, please don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and don't forget to share as we bring you more exciting racing action here from the Old Yadkin Valley Speedway, home to the Winston-Salem Racing Series and the Funkhouser Diecast Racing League.
And as always, don't forget to visit Merch by Meekin. Merch by Meekin is your headquarters for all your custom metal diecast signs and much more. Don't forget about the custom merch and personal gift ideas too. Merch by Meekin. Gotta love those signs.
And finally, ladies and gentlemen, before we send you off, we have a big shout out and thank you to give to 2 new members of the Funkhouser Fan Club, Joshua Baxley and BD Fizzy 22. We appreciate you guys being a part of the channel membership, as is your contributions that help our channel grow. As always, ladies and gentlemen, if you would love to be a part of the channel membership, please click that icon on the button and consider joining us. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you being a part of the action. God dang it, Ricky, stop that!